Welcome to the Juggling Mind and Money podcast with Steve Rowe and Jessica Schlupp-Taylor. Steve Rowe is the founder of Lucent Financial Planning and an award-winning independent financial planner. He helps you to use your money and have a great life. Jess Schlupp-Taylor is a psychologist supporting people through change, challenges, and forks in the road of life. Together, they will help unblock the sludge in your mind, stopping you from achieving financial and psychological happiness.
Hello and welcome to episode 28 of the Juggling Mind and Money podcast. I'm Steve Rowe from Lucent Financial Planning, and today we're going to look at something very emotional and time-saving, and that's the value of advice. And we're going to look at that with Mike. This is Mike, everybody. Mike is an American, and he's very clever, and he's got nice cabinets. So, Mike, introduce yourself.
I'm Mike Kothakota. I am a financial planner in the U.S., North Carolina specifically. For those of you who are unfamiliar with U.S. geography, it's about halfway between Florida and New York on the east coast of the United States. And I do have fantastic cabinets that my wife built. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing this. I've been a financial planner for about 20 years, connected with Steve, and we have a lot in common. We think similarly on a lot of topics, so maybe we can find some differences to have a little spice
Bit
to the conversation
argy-bargy. So, Mike, you're not just a financial planner. You teach, don't you, at universities?
I do. I teach financial mathematics and ethics and regulation at Columbia University in New York. I've taught at a few other universities. I've taught research and behavioral finance at NYU, and then I've taught statistics at Kansas State to PhD students, and then I've taught practice management, so how to run your financial advisor practice, to people in the University of Georgia.
So basically, you're a very clever man, aren't you? Extremely intelligent. And people listen to you, and they listen to you because you've got, due to the autumnal weather, you've got some kind of extra masculine and croaky voice today.
That's right. And I think they listen more to me in the autumn than they do other times because it's not normally this deep. Yeah.
Depth of voice does give people more credibility. That's a fact. It is. That's why no one listens to me.
It is a fact, but also it's a fact that a British accent in the U.S. gives more credibility than a U.S. accent with a deep voice.
Really?
Yeah, somebody did a paper on that a few years ago. Yeah.
Like a received pronunciation British accent.
The
not
RP
like
accent? Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think probably. I'd have to go back and look at it, but it probably is what is it colloquially, the posh accent, so the RP accent.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's none of that today. I can't even do it. I can't even do an impression of RP.
Yeah.
Never mind. Anyway, Mike, I haven't seen you for a month or so.
Yeah.
But I left you at 2 a.m. in Shoreditch in East London, and then you sent me messages for a number of days afterwards blaming me for all your ailments.
I did.
Which I think was harsh.
It was a little harsh. I did not accept personal responsibility for my actions. I'll apologize to you now on the podcast that I did not accept my part in the next day's woes, we'll call them.
Yeah, you didn't take much encouraging, I have to say. It was like, shall we? And you said, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had a great night that night. That's nice.
We did.
And I saw you in action with my friend, with your questioning skills.
Yeah. Which
were great. You're really good. Anyway, Mike, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk a bit about you. Well, okay. I'm not. You're going to talk about yourself because I don't know anything except for what you told me that night in Shoreditch. Now, we're going to talk a bit about you, and then we're going to talk about a recent paper published by Vanguard, the investment company, in June in 2025 about the value that financial planning offers people.
Hmm.
Not the financial side so much, but the emotional and time-saving side. But anyway, it's all about you first, Mike. So
Okay.
tell me about WolfBridge Wealth, which is your company. What do you do? What do you specialize in?
Well, so my wife and I started the firm together. Actually, more accurately, she started the firm while I was still at another company. And I joined about a month later. And it was November 2008. Um, and I think we can all remember what was going on. Well, those of us our age, we can remember and older can
Yeah,
remember what was going on then. Um, and so specialty came to me because out of necessity. There was, massive panic around uh, finances. People were scared to transfer their accounts. And so, I would offer to help any number of ways. And one of those ways was helping people through divorce. And through that process, I became very good at both. That's where I developed the social emotional skills necessary to be a better financial planner, actually, was working with people going through divorce. And so I've been doing that at the firm for over 17 years. I've been a planner for over 20 years. Um, and so yeah, I continued my education. I got a PhD in financial planning, and I use you know evidence-based techniques to provide advice. I use my knowledge of that to kind of help guide clients
yeah.
where it makes sense, and where there are gaps in the research, I make a make a concerted effort to um, you know
Film.
close those gaps. Yeah.
And where did the name WolfBridge Wealth come from? Because that sounds Wolf of Wall Street, doesn't it?
It does sound a little bit like that. So in where we live in North Carolina, there are three major universities. One is North Carolina State University. They are the Wolf Pack. We also had a
Um,
number of we also this was when we name companies and name things, it's a family kind of thing, and we thought an animal name worked pretty well. The other school is either the Blue Devils or the Tar Heels in the area. Neither one of those sounded good. So, but the bridge part is the bridge to retirement. We're going to help you get there. Um, and then there were a number of other things where I thought, well, maybe, people talk about bulls and bears on Wall Street, but maybe, you know, it's people who are less strategic than, say, a wolf pack might
yeah,
be. So,
nice. So
yeah.
that's all super interesting. And how did you end up at Columbia to teaching people about ethics with your background?
Yeah. So so the way that happened was, so the CFP board has a number of uh, they call registered programs. And so they at different universities, there's over 200, maybe even 300 universities that have these programs where somebody can get the CFP curriculum.
Yeah,
And so the university adopts that curriculum and adapts it to whatever they want their program to look like. And Columbia started a program back in 2020. It was brand new. I had experience teaching at other schools. I was also because I had been a practicing financial planner. There's not a ton of people who have both the the PhD and who have practiced for a long time. There's a handful. There were definitely a handful at that time. And other than myself, the other people I knew they had already retired. So I became a little bit of a scarce commodity in that sense. So I was able
yeah.
to kind of um, work my way there. But essentially, that first class is actually much bigger than just ethics and financial math. But because of the nature of the program, we ended up stripping out a lot of the pieces of it, and I was left with ethics, regulation, and financial math, which nobody really wanted to teach. I think, and I would say including me, but as I've spent the time doing it and actually researching it and really going deep, I found it to be quite interesting. And where people fall along that, um, where it's much more complex than people think. Like people think just being a good person and you're going to do the right thing all the time. And I think that that's a um, it's an
But you don't
overly
know what the
simplistic
right
way.
thing is to
That's
do
right.
you?
Yeah.
That's the trouble. And
Well,
you're
I don't, but
making,
you know what the right thing is, probably.
well, I like to think I do, but I don't. I also recognise I don't.
Yeah.
So because there's
Yeah.
your right thing might be
Yeah.
different to someone else's right thing, and they might think that your right thing is wrong.
Right. No, it's I think that's a huge part of it. I mean, and it reflects what we do. That everything we do as financial planners is we're working with very specific set of circumstances with clients, and what's right for them may not be what's right for somebody else. And I don't know, I think you talked about biases on some of the other episodes, but bringing our own biases in there and recognizing them and making sure that we're not, you know,
Yeah,
telling people they should do what we want them to do.
because it depends, like who you grew up with, who your friends are, who your
Yeah,
family. What's okay in your circle
yeah,
isn't okay. So in others, so you know, if you're in a circle of, I don't know, leaders that are dictators, what you do might seem fine. Everyone else thinks it's,
yeah.
absolutely appalling.
That's
Um,
right.
yeah, so it's really hard, isn't it, to get to the bottom of that. What might be in tricky family situations, for example, um, you know, what is the best thing for everybody? So how would someone go about that? Do you think? I would say communication and talking through what all options to get the best answer, which might not be the best for any individual,
Yeah.
but is the best for the group.
For sure, information. You needing more information, I think, is important. And one of the things when I talk to students, I talk a lot about the difference between best and optimal. So a lot of financial planning is about, or a lot of how financial planners have operated has been, well, this is the optimal scenario, so this is what you should do. And I've heard enough from you to know that that's not the right way to go about things. And um, you know, to your point, what's best for what maximizes the benefit for everybody may not be the most optimal thing. And so determining people's needs and interests, determining, dealing with the power dynamics of, parents who have the money or, a sibling that may have made their own wealth and well, how does that play into the dynamic? Um, so yeah, dealing with families is a very challenging ethical piece, and I don't think people talk about it that much. In fact, in my class, we're mainly talking about retirement and insurance and a few other things, but estate is there. There's a lot going on with psychology, the psychology of it, and then there's a lot
Yeah.
going on with the ethics of it.
So in one of your classes, how might you start a discussion? Do you put out like a scenario of where um, tricky decisions need to be made, um, and then everyone piles in? What do you do?
So for discussion, we have our program is asynchronous, which just means that people will do their discussion posts online, and we have a synchronous like session where we kind of discuss some of the challenges that come about. For the discussion board posts, typically I'll ask them questions, of which they have to reply to some number of them. and they have to provide, some support for their answer, so that they're not just putting it in Chat GPT.
Hmm.
Um, and so what I'll tell them is, I'll ask them a question about something kind of simple. So, for example, do you think that ethics and competency go hand in hand, right? And if so, why? So can you be competent but not ethical? And can you be ethical if you're not competent? And so that generally will create a bunch of thoughts where they can provide examples. And usually, if they don't provide examples, I'll say, hey, well, then have you thought about this situation? So this is a situation where if you didn't have the knowledge, you could not act in an ethical manner. And if you, just because you know something, if you're choosing a course of action that is unethical, not in the client's best interest, then have you really internalized the ethics, or the competency of ethics? And that's one thing that we'll do. And for a group project, what I have them do is we look at these cases of people who have allegedly, engaged in misconduct, and these are real cases, and they're purposefully designed, or they're purposely chosen because it's not really clear if they did something wrong. Like,
Yeah,
depending on the evidence and the circumstances, how would you approach that? And they have to, talk about that together and see, and justify why they are either saying this person violated something, providing a sanction for them, in this case, taking their CFP certification or suspending it. And so
yeah.
students really, that's where it really starts to come alive, where they really start to see that it's not that hard. It's not that easy. That can be challenging.
It is, isn't it? And it's also a lot harder. It's easier when you're dissecting this stuff because you know what's happened.
Yeah,
Whereas at the start, the person in it or going through it, this information isn't all available necessarily, or people aren't divulging it
yeah,
deliberately or just
yeah.
through.
Well, we do redact the information so that they're not biased towards the actual, what the solution that the people who were doing that came up with. And I also give them a hypothetical. So it's the same format. I give them a hypothetical situation, which I think is quite fascinating, because it's a retirement scenario where somebody goes to the financial planner, says, I want, $140,000 per year in income, and the planner shows them a Monte Carlo simulation that says they're going to run out of money if they do that. And then so they lower their standard of living and the amount of money they're taking out. But what turns out and what happens is that account continues to grow significantly over the next 20 years. And it
Yeah,
turns out that this person could take the $140,000 out. They could have done that. The plan was never updated. The client says, well, you got all these extra fees on the money as it grew, and I didn't get to have my, $140,000 to live life and travel, do all the things that I wanted to. So he's accusing him of breaching his duty of care. So and so, do you agree with this? Do you know in what situation is this okay? And some people will say, well, he's got all this extra money. Sure, he's 85. He hasn't been able to spend it. He's got all this extra money, so where's the harm? And other people will say, well, he didn't update the plan. That seems problematic. And
well,
so it's
he can't go back in time, can he?
right. No, he can't.
And do that because he's not. Well, he's not as active and whatnot as he was. Um, he's not fit and healthy enough to do that stuff.
Well, and you've talked about that on your podcast, I think, about early on, wanting to spend that money earlier, do things that you want when you're healthy, as opposed to, okay, sure, you have $6 million, 6 million pounds at 85, but you can't travel with the grandkids. You can't, you know, play golf like you used to, or whatever you people want to do. So
Oh, I've been reading a book about this actually. I can't remember who it is. It's bad. Need to.
is it Roar?
I can't remember.
No.
But
Okay.
it's about how £10,000 or dollars is worth way more when you're 27 than when you're
Yeah.
67,
Yeah.
because you got more need, you can do more stuff.
I call it temporal utility. I don't know if anybody else has done that, but basically the economic phrasing of utility is like how useful is this, money to you. And so of course it's like you said, it's different at different time periods. I think it's fascinating that people don't there's a huge debate over the public pension, our we call it social security, um, over whether to wait to take it or to take it early. And the debate is kind of fascinating because some people will just go strictly financial, right? So
Mm.
finance and economic professors will say, well, you should wait as long as possible. But financial planners who work with individuals who like have needs, who say, hey, look, I can't wait to leave work. We know they have different thought processes. So it's really interesting kind of um, juxtaposition, I think.
So I may have mentioned this before on other podcasts, but when we met Mike the other week in Shoreditch, the lad we were with, so when we lived together at university, when we left, I think we were 22, 23, something like that. He was going to Machu Picchu in Peru, and I'd always
Yeah,
wanted to do that since I was a
yeah,
little lad, because I had a book and it had because like Indiana Jones films were out, and I was like 5, and it had Machu Picchu on the front of it, and I'd always wanted to go, but I was just buying my first house, and I didn't go because I thought I need to buy a sofa and
yeah.
things like that. Oh God, if I had an extra few grand then, that would have made all the difference. I should have just
Right.
stuffed the sofa and gone anyway.
You just sat on the floor, right?
Well, I did
For a
anyway
little
for a
while.
few months.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, should have went, but an extra small amount of money then would have had a great time eating guinea pigs with my friend. I could have got up that hill, no problem.
Did they eat guinea pigs there?
Well, probably it's Peru, isn't it? That's what,
Well,
isn't that the
I
national
mean, you
dish?
walk a lot, you hike a lot, so you could probably do it now.
Well, yeah, but I'm massive, aren't I? It's going to be harder than when I was 22. And we
Yeah.
probably would have had more fun than
Yeah.
now. I will still do it, but, temporal utility,
Yeah.
which, does sound like some Eastern batter that you'd apply to a prawn. As well as that,
Yeah.
um, that's the important thing that does. I look
Yeah.
back and I do think that everyone will have a few stories about like that. What's yours?
Yeah. What's my what's so my the thing that I wish I had done, as far as like spend it like the money trade-off. Um
Yeah,
that's a tough one because uh I think I probably would have uh bet on myself earlier to start a firm. Um there's some fear associated with that. There is that I think uh I would have preferred to have done it before 2008.
yeah.
I think that would have been
How
um
old were you then, though?
20, let's see, 20, oh, 30. Yeah, I was 30. So, I mean, old enough to know a little bit better. So 27 when I started in the field.
Mm.
Um, and I had served in the military, prior to that. So I think, yeah, I think, and maybe actually start earlier, start saving earlier. I think I did a lot of trading when I was in college, rather than like systematic saving and things like that. So I mean, I did a little bit of that, but not as much as
Yeah.
I probably should have. As far as like things that I wanted to do,
That though,
I'm,
Mike, that you might
yeah,
have started earlier and not been as wise as you were. Like it could have screwed you up.
That's possible. So that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's really hard to look back and say, well, if I had done this, because I feel like we're in a good spot now. So I think there's probably money regrets are hard sometimes. I think
You
yours
could have
makes
been like
sense.
younger, more impulsive,
Yeah,
not been around the block as many times.
yeah. I mean, yours
Could have.
yours makes sense. I think like I could have. I wish I had gone to Machu Picchu. I think that sounds fantastic. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that would be a trade-off, but um,
You've
I
lived a
did.
life, though. I'd say more. You've crammed a lot in. 'Cause you're younger than me, aren't you?
I think we're the same age, aren't we?
I
Aren't you
thought he was a year
four?
or
I
two
turned
younger.
48 in March.
Oh dear. Oh, well, I'm 4 months older.
That's right, because your birthday's the 18th. That's coming up.
That's it. It's today.
It's today.
Well, it
Today.
isn't today because this is pre-recorded, but this is being released on my birthday.
Happy
So
birthday, by the way. I
thank
didn't
you.
even say it at the beginning. I should have.
No. Well,
Yeah,
you didn't know.
yeah. Just one of
Um,
those financial planners who only talks about himself, it seems like. So, what are you going to do for your birthday? Are you going to go to Machu Picchu?
no, actually, so last year, because obviously it's by Christmas, I got all my school friends together. So we're doing that again this year. So I'll just usurp it and say it's my birthday.
Is
But
it a
that's on the 20th.
is that a pub situation or
Yeah, well, they're all coming, most of them are coming home because people move away, don't they?
yeah?
And we're all meeting up. Don't know what we're going to do. I think we're going to do some indoor golf.
Oh,
It's
I
much ghetto
uh,
golf, it's called.
do you play a lot of golf?
No, it's like mini golf, where you
Oh, okay, like yeah, yeah, yeah.
crazy golf and they give you drinks on the way round.
Yeah,
Be fun
that does sound fun.
and catch up with everybody. So that'd be good. So, Michael,
Okay,
we're going to
Steve.
do everybody's favourite part of the show now.
Okay,
I hope you're prepared.
I am prepared.
We're going to do Sockology.
Fantastic. I'm ready.
And now for Sockology, where Jess and Steve review types of sock and how your socks affect your mood.
Right, so Michael, Sockology, how do your socks make you feel? It's a very important part of the show. So
I
let's
think
look at the socks.
okay.
Get your foot up.
So this is can't even
Oh,
see
that was
it.
just leg.
There we go. It's just like so. Those are the Captain America socks. I
Captain
feel
America.
I feel close to the podcast because I hear Jess talk about them on when she goes. I guess she says she likes to go to the gym with them. But
Yeah,
I
she
have a
does.
surprise because I
Oh, you've got different socks.
I put different socks on because
Nice.
I, you know, like your country, and I figure
Oh,
we were going to
yeah.
be on this
Look at
podcast
that.
together. So
The,
I have a
the,
Union Jack socks
the
and
flag
Captain
of
America
Blighty.
socks. Yeah, yeah. My feet now have the same special relationship that well that at least you and I have that I guess they talk about the politicians talk about, but it,
That
you.
special relationship where you're blaming me for your hangover.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna send you the opposite pairs, and then you can
That
wear
is
those.
basically the relationship between Britain and America, isn't it? It's blame each other.
Blame each.
Like,
That's
we
right.
blame you for our morbid obesity for introducing the hamburger
Yeah, I think that's well deserved. I think we did.
and
That is our
oversized
fault.
shakes.
Yeah. Well, at least you don't do you don't do the free refills like we do here, where we consistently add more sugar to. So we get
They are
a
available a bit, but not
are they?
everywhere.
Okay.
'Cause you have them in gas stations, don't you, with massive, is it
They have
Mountain Dew?
they call them big gulps.
Yeah.
And then if you restaurants usually have free refills. So you get your sugar, Coke and Pepsi or and then you go back sorry, Coke and Pepsi. Maybe you might want to blur that out. And then you go back and get more.
They might send us some sponsorship.
Maybe we can get you a sponsorship. Yeah.
Hey, Mike, so the big gulps that you get at gas stations,
Yeah.
right? And so when I've been in America, you see people going out with them, getting in their truck or whatever.
Mhm.
Like, don't they need the bathroom quite soon?
Yeah.
So, especially as a men in our late 40s, it's gonna
Got to go
drive
3 times before the big gulp is done, don't we?
like
Yeah.
what's going on there?
Well, there's a lot of public bathrooms.
Yeah,
I think
is
that's
there
probably part of it.
on
That's
the
the reason.
interstates?
Yeah. Yeah. You go on the interstates, they're on you can go in almost any, place of business. Well, not any place of business, that's inaccurate. But like any restaurant, and you can use their toilet usually. Yeah.
Unbelievable, I
Yeah.
think. Anyway, next section of what we call the show. I was talking about how often we might need to stop for it.
I was hoping we were going to do what's wrong with Mike. Because you do what's wrong with Steve, we could do what's wrong with
Or like
Mike.
diagnose Mike. Okay,
Like,
then. Let's see, diagnose Mike.
yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, we don't have enough episodes for that. You don't
You
have.
seem quite level-headed, I'd say. Quite calm, measured.
I do try to be a little bit calm and measured. Um, so, but I can still have a good time. I mean, you've seen that, so I can still. But I think we don't have to go into the article just yet. But I think an advisor being calm or a financial planner being calm is very helpful. At least you don't want to be you don't want to be calling clients panicking uh, about everything. So I do try to be fairly level-headed.
Well, that's true because your mood does affect other people, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, all right then, let's talk about this. So, if you're with a new client or an existing one, doesn't really matter, I suppose. And then what is your normal mode? My normal sort of disposition is excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I am excited about seeing them generally. Not everyone, note, but generally I'm quite excited about seeing whoever's coming, especially if they're new,
Yeah.
because it's not nice meeting new people, isn't it?
Right.
What are you like? What's your sort of default disposition with a
Um,
client?
so default disposition is I think I would call it professionally happy. So very almost, reserved, but like, smiling and, glad they came in. And then it very quickly shifts to um, listening and asking questions, almost counselor-esque, like, because I'm trying to get to know them. I think that's where it ends up shifting to, and then slightly humorous. So I'm not as funny as you are, but I do try to slip in a little bit of
Odd,
humor there now and then.
you mean?
What's
You
that?
mean you not as funny? Odd. That's what you mean.
Uh, I don't know if that's.
Yeah.
Are we all
Odd.
odd?
I think you're perfect, Michael.
That's funny.
So I'd
I
say
think
no.
you're the financial planner I would like to be, frankly. You look like you're having a blast all the time.
um, well, I think you're here for a good time, aren't you? Not a long
Yeah.
time. So I try to.
Yeah.
I'm
What
going
do
to
you
try to
so
get clients excited about stuff because
yeah,
it's their life, isn't it? And you've only got one. So let's have a go.
so how does that look to be excited? Like I'm so you're telling them I'm so excited to see you, or is it something a little bit more subtle than
It's
that?
more about, what you're planning. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
What have we got
That
these
is exciting.
4,000 weeks?
That is exciting. Yeah.
We haven't got many left.
Yeah.
Let's have a go. What is it? And then it's exciting to hear people's ideas. So last night, Mike, I was out with some clients who were moving home, right? So I retired them, got them retired, and they are exciting people with imagination, and they're moving to the north, so Northumberland, which is in the northeast of the UK. And in just 1 year, they were telling me about which I sort of knew some of them, all the things they've been up to. So they've gone to the highest point in every county. So a county is like a region of the UK, of every one of them. They've walked 3 miles a day, which doesn't sound much, but every day. So it's a challenge to walk 1,000 miles in a year.
Yeah.
They've started metal detecting, where you wave over the ground. And they found a coin that was 1,900 years old, a Roman coin.
That's really old.
Antoninus Pius it was, and it had been clipped in half in the olden days because it was silver.
Yeah.
They found other Victorian stuff and maybe a medieval iron ingot. This is all exciting things, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
He's signed up for a blacksmithery course, so making horseshoes and metal stuff, and knives. These are all exciting things, all in a year, and moving house, moving region, back to where they grew up. I think that's smashing it. That's a great small things. They might sound really, but they're all quite exciting, aren't they? And
it is exciting when they do things that they really want to, that make them excited, and that they really want to do. It can be really exciting. It's good when they have ideas too. I think you and I may have talked about this before. People usually will say things like, "Well, I want to travel," and it's like, well, that's the standard answer.
yeah,
But like really getting to them, like purpose and what they really want to do, is really fun and fascinating. But that sounds exciting. Metal detecting, finding old coins. I took blacksmithing class, a couple
did you?
classes actually. Yeah, made a few
Wow.
things.
What do you
Um,
make?
Made some plant stakes for my wife for when she plants trees
Mm.
that are too weak to stay up on their own. I made a bottle opener. I made several bottle openers, but I made one specifically. Our
They're
daughter
good
had,
gifts.
yeah, she had a car, her first car that it was time for a new car. And she was sad that that car was going away. So there was a piece of the car that had, fallen off. I turned it into a bottle cap, or bottle opener.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
So that's making sentimental things another keepsake, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, Mike, what we're going to do now, because
All
obviously
right.
you're American, we're going to go to, we've just got some messages from our
Okay.
sponsors, and
Okay.
then we'll come back. we'll come back and we'll look at that Vanguard paper together.
And now a message from our sponsors. Jess, Steve, there are no sponsors. This is embarrassing.
Anyway, we're back.
Yeah, we're back.
Sorry, you've been laughing off air there, listener. Hey, we looked at the stats of this podcast, on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And over 1,400 hours of listening. It's crazy that, isn't it?
That's
My
a lot.
ears, my voice and Jess's voice has gone into all those ears for that amount of time this year. Anyway, right, so in this section, Mike, we're going to talk about this paper that's been produced by Vanguard, which is an investment company. They're massive, aren't they? Is that the second biggest in the world, or first or second?
I think they're the second. I think Capital Group, or maybe. Yeah, or BlackRock. That's true.
So this is quite fresh research from them. And a few years ago, they did a study called the Advisor Alpha.
Mm-hmm.
So alpha being the additional returns that a fund manager can offer above the market level. And they've applied that to what the financial advisor could do. And they reckon that was around 3% a year through various things like tax saving, asset allocation, stuff like that. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talking about the follow-on study, which is about the emotional effect we have, and also the time that we save. So obviously the emotional effect I have might be frustration, irritation,
It doesn't sound like it.
annoyance.
It sounds like your clients are very happy. You've got people meeting you in the pub saying how you've changed their life. I think that's, I mean,
Yeah,
I think
that's nice, isn't it?
that's pretty special. Yeah.
You get that, don't you?
I do. Uh it is it's very gratifying when you hear it. It makes it you feel like, okay, I'm doing a good job. So yeah,
Nice feeling though, isn't it?
yeah,
That's what it's all about.
yeah.
You know, real difference. Doesn't happen for years though, generally,
It
because you do
usually,
something, it takes some time to come true, doesn't it?
yeah. But sometimes people who just they're getting organized and they feel like, or they don't know that they can
Yeah,
retire, and then when you show them or do whatever they want to do, but then when you do show them, they're so very grateful. um that, and I said, well, we haven't done anything really yet. Okay, but just even knowing, I think sometimes is helpful.
so I'm going to read some facts out from, well, not
Okay,
facts, that's the wrong word, isn't it? You'll pull me up on that, being
some findings, some,
an educator. Yeah.
yeah.
Some findings. So they surveyed 12,000 investors and they found that advised clients are half as likely to experience high financial stress compared to investors that do it on their own. So 14% compared to 27%. Right. So what do you think's at play there, Mike?
I think some of it, so it could be a number of things from my perspective. It could be validation that, that they, um, did the things that they needed to in order to, um, be on the right path.
Yeah.
It could be being just what we were just talking about, could be being told that they're on the right path. Um, it could be, and I would hope that it's more related to, that they're able to see that they are right, so they're able to have the experience that what they wanted to happen is actually happening, as opposed to just being told. um Sometimes that, I think you were saying that sometimes it takes a while for people to really believe it. They have to see it happen for a while. um I think you've talked about on the podcast the psychology of people saving, and then, okay, now not only am I not going to save, I'm going to be taking that money. And that's, that is a huge barrier for a lot of people to overcome, to get, and then to feel like, yeah, it's okay for me to do this. So I think those things are at play. um what are your thoughts? Do you think very
Well,
similarly, or?
Vanguard reckoned that it may be like there may be other things at play here. Like
Mhm.
the wealthy, they have a greater need for advice. Okay, but they're more likely to use financial advisors. So the results might be skewed because of that, and because they're wealthy anyway, they don't have to worry about money, so they may be less stressed anyway. So they think it might have skewed that. Um, and then the flip side of that also is, if you're more stressed about money in the first place, you might seek out an advisor. And
Mhm.
then when they sort it out, you immediately feel less stressed.
Yeah.
So it might
Reverse
be,
causation, as they call it. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
reckon, though, there might be something else that if someone else tells you to do something, there's like less responsibility on you, isn't there?
Mm. Yeah.
There's less
Transference of
blame.
responsibility. Yeah.
Do you think it's easy when something goes wrong, you forgive yourself, don't you? If it was your decision or you were the cause, you
Yeah.
forgive yourself a lot quicker than you might forgive someone else. Um, well, I do. That's just a mistake I made. Anyone
Yeah.
else? I can't believe you've done that.
I think, I mean, that probably depends on the person, but I think that's a good, I mean, that I didn't even think of that one. I was thinking, there's a possibility that, um there's a lot of research on overconfidence bias, and people who they people who don't really know a lot, and they there's different things people like to talk about Dunning-Kruger effect and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But people who don't know a lot tend to be more certain that their answer is right, and people who do know a lot tend to be slightly less certain. They lower the probability that they are correct, and I think there could be a situation where there are advisors that are overconfident in what they're telling people, and people respond well to that. So politicians do this, right? So politicians are very confident about everything that they can do and how they can fix everything. And experience has shown us that that is not the case very often. But people are more likely to vote for somebody who is much more confident. And so, and it reduces their, like, hey, again, like you said, transferring the responsibility to someone else. And then they get blamed right after they not
yeah,
to too. So yeah, so I think there's probably a little bit of that in there. um it is, the skewness of the wealthy, like having more advisors, that does make more sense. They're already lower anxiety. It would be better to see, like, before they hired the advisor, and then after they hired the advisor. And so it's a couple of studies actually looking at that now. So the
yeah.
CFP board's client impact, they just had their second year. No, they just collected their third year results. And I believe preliminarily for like the second year results, people who hired an advisor, you could see a drop in things like anxiety.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's.
Well, that was another thing that the Vanguard thing looked at. 86% of advised clients report greater peace of mind than they had before. So I guess like someone just putting your arm around you and going, "Hey, it's going to be all right."
Yeah.
That's
Well, and
nice,
they
isn't it?
compared that to digital advice clients too, right? So the digital advice clients,
Yeah.
it's not
So
a person telling you
that
that.
w-
It's a,
that
yeah,
that was 69%,
yeah,
and if you had a real human, it was 88%.
yeah. So that's a win for humans.
Getting
Yes.
fed up of robots.
Yeah,
You know, robots really bang on, don't they?
they do.
Shut up. You're not that good.
No, they make
Recognize your
mistakes.
deficiencies.
That's right.
Yeah. To err is human. Um, to err as a robot is a human's fault as well, because they blame shift, don't they? Goes, well, you
That's true.
coded me.
Yeah, that's true. These robots, they just always want to shift the blame. That's
Blame
just,
shifter. Hate him.
yeah. I don't know.
So,
What do you think that the emotions of, well, I guess the question would be, do you have a systemized way of how you help clients navigate emotions, or is it client dependent? Like, they come in with a certain issue, and um, they manifest, or they communicate it as a money issue, but it's really they're just nervous or upset or anxious about something. So how do you
I
how
wouldn't
do
say
you
it's
approach that?
systemized. We have certain things we resort to,
Yeah.
maybe. Um, it's about, but it's so individual, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if you go down this flow chart of, um, you said you're feeling like this, so we're doing
Yeah.
this. That isn't getting
No.
to the bottom of it. That is a
Yeah.
robot.
Yeah.
I think being with them in that feeling, that's my first
Yeah.
sort of thing, like trying to put on their shoes and go, right, God, yeah, that would be awful.
Yeah.
Or great, whatever it is. Let's not be negative.
Yeah.
Can be
Sometimes it can be
positive
great.
emotions. Um, it's hard, and then like just looking for alternatives, understanding, trying to get from them an understanding of why that feeling or emotions arising.
You spend so um I adapted my practice a number of years ago that I was going to spend, like, I don't, it's not an hour meeting or some finite period of time, because I can't, if in an hour, it's very difficult to do the exploration that you're talking about. And so do you find yourself spending more time, exploring some of those thoughts and feelings? So you sit with them, and then do you find yourself exploring, like, yeah, I wonder why, why do you think you're feeling like this? Or, you
Well, I find it's the place. So people come see us, and it's about their finances.
yeah.
And then, so I've got this one client in particular, doesn't really understand anything unless I take him out for a drink,
Huh?
and then it comes not because he's drinking a lot, just because it's a different environment where it's more relaxed, where he's more used to
Yeah.
telling people stuff rather than in our office.
Huh?
Even though we try to make it a
Judgmental.
relaxing thing,
Yeah.
and that is, I worked that out a few years ago. He's been with us 10 years, a few years ago now. So we just do the perfunctory stuff in the office, and you tell he'll be upset about something. So I go, come on, let's go out.
Well, yeah. What if you
Um,
built a pub in the office? That seems like,
this
and
sounds
then
terrible.
and then tried to replicate that client.
Well, our office is next door to one, so it's not.
Well, that works out. That works out. No need to. You can
Um,
co-bring them. So,
I think it's just been in an environment he's in more often, I guess.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I was the reason I asked it, and the reason I brought it up, because it does seem like you run a much more client focused practice than a lot of people. And here in our country, there's a huge push to systematize, to everything is about growth of the practice. I mean, you could go to a conference and there's 4 or 5 sessions usually on how to use LinkedIn to add more people, less so about how do you add value to the clients, and how do you. So it's interesting to me, because I think you've been successful, but it does sound like you also make space for, like, you can be successful and you make space for those emotions, rather than saying, "Hey, my hour's up, I've got to go do my award-winning podcast, I can't talk to you." Right.
oh no, wait, I don't kick anyone out after
Yeah.
a set amount of time.
Yeah.
Perhaps I'm successful because I lead with the emotional thing.
Yeah. Do you
Um,
ever get pushback from prospects or clients on that? Like, new clients, like, where they're like, "Hey, I came to you for the money, not not for."
well, for new people, obviously we deal with
Yeah,
what they've looked us up for.
yeah,
But sometimes they're coming for us to us because bad stuff's happened in their life. I don't know,
yeah,
death or illness or whatever it might be, divorce. They've had these life-shattering events happening, which come to us all at some point. But those are the triggers for seeking out advice. So of course we need to deal with that
address those.
first.
Yeah,
Well, not necessarily deal with it first, but that's what they're expecting, and then you
yeah,
look at the other things. But I think once you've been, and so especially in Britain, because we're not good emotionally, are we?
mhm.
Stiff,
I was going
stiff
to
upper
ask
lip,
you
old
about that.
chap.
I was going to ask you about that, because I think you mentioned, so somebody mentioned it at a conference. So I'm going to hijack your podcast here. Somebody mentioned that at a podcast, or at a conference, at the
Mm.
financial well-being conference. And I remember thinking, um, I think there's a huge reason for that, right? The stiff upper lip, probably goes back a long ways. But I mean, if you think about things like the Blitz, and, not, I think there's this idea we're not going to show the Nazis any weakness. And I think that has carried over in a lot of ways. Eh, but to me, I think, and they said, well, how would you reach, somebody in this country, um, in an emotion, like get them to open up. And I wonder if, I don't actually know the answer. I think my thought is that it makes sense to like kind of acknowledge that is the case. It is the case that we're a tough people. We have that stiff upper lip. We're going to keep going no matter how many hits keep coming. um and then saying, but there is, and then talking about, well, there is some trauma with that. There is some generational trauma, just because it's, you guys are an old country, and because it wasn't really that long ago that you had to deal with these things. And I I that's kind of the approach that I take typically is, I don't open with it. I don't open with emotions and stuff like that, but it's acknowledging things like, oh, that sounds hard. People who are getting divorced, like, that's really hard, and this is really challenging. And then,
Yeah. Well, it's
um,
tough.
yeah, and then seeing if there are cracks that, hey, it's okay for that to suck, and it's okay for you to be concerned about money, and it's okay to be, to say that you're looking for help. So I don't know, like, I think so. Anyway, I guess my question, I say all that, and then my question is, how do you get people in Great Britain to open up to you? I think my initial instinct is, because you're so excited, people have an instant connection with you, and they feel comfortable like almost immediately. And so, but I don't know if you have.
I will ask them. So any mention of anything, because I think people want to talk about stuff, but they think that other people don't want to hear it. Here, so if any mention of concern or whatever, I want to delve deeper into that and find out.
Mm.
Just because, like, it's good, like, it is good to talk, isn't it? Get
Yeah.
stuff off your chest. And if people are thinking that people don't want to hear, and they will shut it up. So I don't think, like, the stiff upper lip is that is on the wane, but
Okay.
you're just repressing it. It's still going to be making you feel rubbish. It's still going to
Yeah.
come out in some way, whether you tell someone or not, and behind closed doors. So it's probably a lot that's gone on in the past where that stiff upper lip was more expected from everyone. But just no one's finding out. Wasn't they weren't fine. They weren't just going, "Oh, it's fine," were they? It's still it's still cutting you up inside,
Yeah.
and then that'll come out in other ways. So I
Well,
will ask, and I'll tell my team, like, if ask them, like, someone's died, ask
yeah.
them what happened, how they're feeling,
Yeah.
and don't, when they go fine, but do it again, because they're just,
Yeah. Oh,
most people want to talk about it, I think.
but the but
Um,
the reaction is fine. I'm fine. But
yeah, we get
and so,
fine.
if you ask again, maybe they'll. I mean, it does sound like maybe it's like, I mean, we've talked. It is different for different people, but you make the space for that, like taking the guy to the pub, right? Maybe people are more likely to talk about, issues in certain environments, as opposed to in the office with the financial planner. Um, I don't know.
Well, this
I
is
think,
the reason we do lots of events, because in different environments where there's more people, where they can take you aside, it's more like, rather than being one on one. Like, we do this
yeah,
monthly walk. People can, when you're walking with someone, it's side on, side on. It's easier to get things out.
yeah. Well, because you're not you don't have the somebody, you don't have the potential for somebody to look at you in judgment. Maybe
Yeah,
that's,
and go like this.
yeah. Oh,
Oh my
really?
God, you're you're a terrible person.
Yeah. No, I'm fascinated by the walking. Where did that idea come from?
It wasn't my idea. It
No?
was fellow who used to work for us called Rich. Well done, Rich. Good idea. Um,
Yeah.
so we started it.
Shout out to Rich.
Yeah, it was after COVID because we hadn't been out for a year,
Yeah.
so we just started it then
Oh,
because you could walk together without killing each other, couldn't you? At that point,
yeah.
yeah, so that was good. But it's good for interaction. People like it. It's regular. It's easy. It's
Hmm.
nice. We had one yesterday actually. So it's good. So yeah, talking about things. I think so. I was telling you about this, wasn't I? On a text message, I think. So in Britain, the use of therapy is a lot less common than it is in America.
Yeah.
And when I meet people that have had therapy before, you ask them something and they will talk because they're
Yeah.
used to spilling this stuff out.
Yeah.
Um, so it's the first sign of that someone's willing to listen. They will start talking. People that haven't, it is harder to get them out, and you do need more probing
Also,
questions.
I think, I mean, if you're getting a transfer of trust, I think so. If it's a referral from a client who's been very happy, that sings your praises, there tends to be some trust when that person walks in the door. Sometimes, though, I think, like, and it's over the years, it's become more instinctual. This person doesn't trust me yet, or they do trust me. I had Meg Lertz had a thought about like asking people their money story. And I've always been saying, look, you don't. That's not the first question you ask somebody. And I see inexperienced planners do stuff like that all the time, where they're like, "Well, I'm gonna use this psychology stuff, and I'm just gonna start asking you something." And I mean, you haven't built that trust yet to ask that question, like, and unless, again, unless it's been, you know, transferred to you in some way. But I think it's, that is meeting four or five.
Yeah,
Something like that. So I, it sounds like you're a little bit like me. It's kind of based on the feeling. Like, where are you? Where are we in this relationship uh, with the client? Would you say
yeah.
that's
Well, you can feel it, can't you? When
yeah,
when you're getting on with someone, or
yeah,
they trust you, or they don't, or they're scared of you.
yeah.
Because it's scary, isn't it? Talking to us about all your,
Well,
where
people think
people.
you're going to judge them
Yeah,
about
but
their choices, and yeah,
yeah, people don't talk about money. Well, not in the UK. It's a very guarded thing. It's not cool. It's not cool to go, hey, I earn whatever.
well, that's kind of the way it is here too. I mean, well, so it is that way here, except for select people. Some people will, and they're not talking about how much they make because they're trying to be transparent. They're talking about how much they make so they can um lord it over other people. Happens in the industry a lot actually here, but there is in the financial services industry. But there are people, they're trying to change like that, hey, we should be talking about these things for a variety of reasons. I think one of the major reasons is salaries, right? So if people don't talk about money,
Yeah,
then there's an inefficiency in how much people should be getting paid and versus how much they are getting paid. So
yeah,
but it's similar here, but and like, that was like I don't know. I mean, that was, people will talk about all the time. Well, in my family, we never talked about money, and they're like, well, how do you know, how were you able to know it? You didn't have a chance to even learn anything if your family never talked about it.
yeah.
My family was the same way. Like, we don't talk about it. So yeah,
Also, I think there's a danger from our point of view because we talk about it all the
yeah,
time,
yeah.
right? So we're
I
blasé
bring
about some things, but
there's
also, you know, a lot of the time people aren't that bothered. Like some, there aren't massive issues with them. I think it's
yeah,
very, we're like looking for ones, but sometimes people are quite happy, aren't they?
yeah.
You always want a bit more, maybe, but you're not necessarily overloaded with these issues. Um, I think. I think things sometimes are as simple as complicated as you want to make them, aren't they?
I think that's true. I think simplicity, And I think that in some cases, I like the complexity. Um, and so I have a bias where I might overcomplicate something that probably shouldn't be overly complicated. Um, but the solution may still be the simple one. It just, but going through the exercise of the complexity, I think, helps provide certainty for a client, uh, or it maybe even goes back to this article where maybe it's reducing, their anxiety, to know somebody did that, and then but we're
Yeah,
still going to just use this simple solution because, frankly, that's all you need, and we don't have to overcomplicate this so that your life is overcomplicated. It's supposed to be helping people, not making it worse.
that's it. So in that study, it did say 71% of human advised clients reported an increase in positive emotions. So they felt more confident, satisfied, positive, secure, proud.
Mhm.
But also, even a higher score, so 79%, felt the negative emotions had been reduced as well. So like anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, worried, sad, or disappointed. So double bubble, as we
Yeah.
might call it here, benefit, positive and negative.
I mean, I really believe that the work we do is incredibly important, and I think it's so valuable. I mean, it's nice to have a study like this talk about it, but I mean, we can see it on people's faces, you know, every day. I think, and you had some of your staff on there talking about this as well multiple times, where they would discuss like the reactions of clients. I mean, we can put it in a document. We can measure some statistics. We can,
Yeah.
um, uh, do studies, but like that outcome and seeing the person at the pub, saying that this is the guy who changed my life, I think um, is the proof for sure.
So just to wrap up now, Mike, because this is a really good time to close off. Because I've just thought of this, and it
This
makes
is-
me laugh. About this Vanguard paper.
Yeah,
Essentially, get an advisor because
yeah,
they'll accentuate the positive, so they will increase your
yeah,
positive emotions, right? And eliminate the negative,
yeah.
well, reduce them. Who sang that? I'll tell you it is, because I didn't know. Johnny
Oh,
Mercer.
that's a real song. I thought it was your song. I'm sorry.
No, accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative. Not heard that.
No,
No, that's an American person, isn't it?
is it really?
Yeah, Johnny Mercer and the Pied Pipers with the Paul Weston Orchestra, 1944.
Oh, I can't believe I didn't know that. That sounds,
No,
I mean, 1944. I should have that. Should have
genre,
that.
jazz,
Yeah.
traditional pop.
Oh, well,
There you go,
that is
Mikey. You can be
perfect.
listening to that. It's Friday night now.
That should
Get
be the
out there.
theme song of the Juggling Mind and Money podcast then.
It could be. It could
Yeah.
be. So now, just before we go, reviews.
Steve and Jess would be really grateful if you'd leave them a review on wherever you listen to your podcasts. If they run a star system, please give Juggling Mind and Money more stars than the Milky Way.
Mike,
Right.
leave us a review. You've never left us one.
I have
actually.
left a review.
Have you? Or was it under a
Yeah.
different name?
It's under my name. It did seem like it was. Let me see if I can.
What was it on? Apple or Spotify?
I think it was Apple.
Anyway, we have had a
Yeah.
review from an Anna
Okay.
Butcher. I know Anna. She's nice. She's lovely. She works in financial services. And she just wanted to say, I loved the podcast episode, the one with Neil Page. And she can't imagine how fun it would be to do a podcast with us.
Yeah.
And now it's time to go back through all the old episodes, she said. She also said a cinema order is salted popcorn with M&Ms topped on top of the popcorn and a Pepsi Max. That's what we discussed with Neil. So all good. So thank you, Anna. Be in touch.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and get her on. She's a good chat to listen.
That is great. I can read you my review. It's
Woo, we're going to double up.
October 29th. So with
Ooh.
great humor and brilliant dialogue, Jess, Steve, and the Lucent crew do an amazing job of explaining complex financial concepts and problem-solving solutions. In addition, Steve's explanations of tax, estate, insurance, and investing in the United Kingdom are very clear yet comprehensive. Jess and Steve are very obviously brilliant at their jobs. P.S. I'm studying to be a psychologist now.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. I mean, I can't find any books, but I am putting on different socks. So we'll see how it goes.
You're halfway there. You've done
Yeah.
the first year. If you got the psychology bit right. Okay, so thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back soon. The next episode will be what will it be about? I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, so thanks for coming. I'll see you soon. Christmas is on the horizon. Hope you're all having a nice time. Goodbye. Say goodbye, Mike.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, Steve.
That was good. See you later. Bye.